Hello, I'm Ron Duplessis. I'm the owner of McGowan Precision Barrels and Carbon 6 Barrels. We do some very unique things and we're exploring into the world of the unknown today. We have some new products out and we have exciting times that we want to tell you about. We have a new line called Precision Cut. It's going to be housed at the Montana location where McGowan currently is. McGowan has been traditionally, over the last 60, 70 years, a button rifle company. I've owned McGowan for a little over 20 years. We are changing our business plan and we're going to something very high-tech, cutting edge, electronic chemical machining process. It is very simply a spark eroding system, much like wire EDM. Very accurate, very efficient, quite expensive to develop. We've been working on it for 3.5 years with substantial capital outlays. We finally find out that we have perfected the system enough to offer it to the general public. The great advantages to the wire EDM, as many people have been asking about, is absolutely a no stress process. It's very simple. It is kind of like having a spark plug arc on top of a piston and burns a hole in it. But it's better known probably by the wire EDM process, the electronic discharge system, but it uses a supply of wire. And it can't go into a deep hole. It can go into holes, it can make its own way, but going down a 32-inch 22 barrel is simply not something that's possible with that process. So I want to show you today exactly how this works. And of course, it's a simulation in the very simplest form. We've had some very comical comparisons. One gentleman has actually done some electronic machining in his vacated aquarium and did his printing for this tooling on a 3D printer. Well, I'm not sure I really recommend this. It could be a little dangerous, but I certainly applaud his ingenuity in his efforts to prove out some very unique chemical and physics processes. This is very much a very simple illustration of what we do. You'll see the cleaning rod and you'll see the electrified cable representing the electricity. And on the end, you'll see what appears to be actually a recovered spent bullet. That is called a cathode. That cathode is going to be responsible for putting in the rifling inside of the barrel. What we have here is a already rifled chambered, gorgeous example of a carbon 6 barrel. And I'm going to show you just how simple it is. Now, this is going to be the exciting version. It takes about 12 minutes to go through a 28-inch barrel. That's been our beta length in our test through the years, the last 3.5 years. So I'm not sure anybody wants to sit there and watch this cathode or this rod dive into that barrel for 12, 15 minutes to complete the process. But this is simply the methodology by which we use. It's an 8-spindle machine, and you have to check the voltage, which causes the depth in the groove, and you also have the length of time in the voltage combination, which the cathode produces the electrical charge in the arc in order to erode the metal. This is submerged in a solution of salt water. Not terribly different than the gentleman's aquarium we talked about earlier, or simply a saltwater pool conversion. And that's to keep it very cool, keep the metal from having any ill effects whatsoever. So that takes away pretty much any mechanical or chemical stress whatsoever in the barrel. And it moves at a very, very slow rate, as you can see. Well, I'm not that patient to show you the rest of this. So we're going to dispense with this and just, you can imagine what the process does. What it does do for us in the world of rifle barrels is it produces something very, very accurate. Well, in my time in the business of over 25 years, we have done single point cut and we've also done button. This is the first time I can actually say I know exactly what's coming out of the barrel once we're finished with the process. Takes a few hand laps, comes out absolutely gorgeous, shiny as a stainless steel kitchen countertop. I think you'll be very pleased with what you will see in your borescopes. Everybody has one or knows somebody that has a borescope today, and I'm sure they just can't wait to get a good look. What you will find is very, very, very accurate grooves. The great thing about this process, we can control the motion as it goes down, the pulse of the electricity, and the time, the dwell, the duration by which it sits at a given position, creating either a deeper or more shallow groove. In today's world, this is becoming really quite important. The more complexity that we're looking for in barrel production today, simply due to the hypervelocity, extremely accurate ammunition that we have on the market. And you know who those makers are, and you know how far they are capable of shooting. So if we decided that we thought we needed a little bit of chamber relief at the beginning of the barrel, we simply would deepen the groove just a tad to relieve that. A little bit like free pouring. Not to discount free boring, but it's probably not the most accurate method that we have out there. But the combination of free boring and depth in the groove initially in the combustion chamber of the cartridge would probably lead to better barrel life and possibly more accuracy. Add that to a nominal groove in the center of the barrel and being able to choke that barrel a little bit at the muzzle before the exit, giving you a little bit better spin. Combine that with gain twist, and I think you can see you have a lot of possibilities to improve not only accuracy, but barrel life as well. Speaking of accuracy, that's the one thing that we've been totally blown away by. We're getting 0.1, 0.2 MOA at very long distances, 500, 1,000, 1,200 yards. We've been able to shoot golf balls at 1,000 yards. Not everybody, but very simply, the barrels have proven consistently to be able to hold under a quarter of a minute of angle. The great thing about this scientific experiment and accomplishment is it is reproducible every time out. Very predictable. So the great thing, as much as a lot of our shooters shoot, they have to replace a barrel no matter what. Well, you could expect that your load development is going to be very, very short-lived, possibly reproducing the same cartridge with the same recipe over and over again. So I think that gives people a great confidence and assured that they're going to get a good barrel every time out. No break-in, very short break-in, sometime as few as 5 rounds. Since there's no edges, they have been lapped, and there's nothing really to distort the groove, then you have a real accurate barrel right out of the box ready to go. Let's see what else we have here. We've had a number of questions come in, and a lot of people are very enthusiastic about this. What I didn't mention is we have a new product called Carbon-Tech. It's our new high value carbon fiber barrel alternative line. I think it's going to be something that a lot of people really like. Very lightweight, quite accurate, and it's a hunting barrel. It's not carbon-6. Let's be clear about that. It's your hunting barrel, great for smaller stature people, your kids, your wife, and thank goodness when they outgrow it, you get it back. And then you can build another gun and you can keep the legacy going with that barrel for a very small amount of money. And I think it's going to be an enjoyable product. Again, made out of the precision cut blank. We have another question that comes from Mr. Pete Underwood from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, a longtime gunsmith. And Pete asked, Ron, this is all fine and dandy, but what does it do for me? I love your barrels. I've been installing them for a long time with a lot of good luck, but what about lead time? Frankly, Y'all have been a pain in the ass. Well, Pete, you're right. Pain in the ass is probably an understatement. But I think, Pete, what happens here is we have all automated drills and reamers, all CNC, very accurate. And we're able to drill 4 barrels in, somewhere around 12, 14 minutes. I'm able to take those 4 barrels, double that load, and I can put in my ECM that has 8 spindles. It runs about 12 or 14 minutes, depending on caliber and length. We've used 28 as the beta length, so that's about what we can achieve. At the end, we have no thermal process to relieve stress. And that's where we always ran into issues with the button rifles. The thermal process requires putting them into an oven, bringing them up to 1100, 1200 degrees, leaving them in overnight, and then retrieving them out of a hot oven. Well, sometimes those dimensions can change. Then we have to lap or we have to scrap the barrels. Well, with the wire EDM or the ECM, either one, there's no stress, there's no change in the molecular structure whatsoever, as far as we can tell. Again, leading to longer barrel life, but there's no lapping. There's no other processes. We don't have to remove the scale. So many things over the years that we've done to assure that we have a stress-free button rifle barrel. All that is gone. It's even easier than our single point cut rifle machines, which do a great job for us. And we're going to retain those, especially for special customers and for experimentation. We will be sunsetting McGowan very shortly, just so we don't create brand confusion. As we said, McGowan has been a button rifle company for years, so we don't want to confuse the clientele basically by determining a cut barrel, an electro cut barrel with a button barrel. So we decided to split the brands and come up with a new concept. Well, quite certainly when Harry McGowan started making barrels in 1955, if anybody knew Harry, will quickly tell you, he wouldn't really kind of think of electrochemical manufacturing in his world. But he was a very fine barrel maker for many, many years. So we're going to sunset that brand. I think it's about that time. So Precision Cut will be our new line. With that, we will be introducing a number of super cutting edge techniques in the rifle and the barrel world. We've heard the concerns out there about our customer service being lacking the last 18 months. And I must tell you, we've suffered some personnel tragedies that I wasn't prepared for. We love those people. They're no longer with us in many ways. So we've had to kind of reinvent ourselves a little bit. I decided that if we're going to go down that path, we are going to make people proud of what we do. So we are coming up with a cutting edge telephone system. And yes, it does contain AI. You will be very pleased, I believe, with the result of this AI. This is not a bot, chat bot. This is something that we have developed and control the content, set the perimeters. It's there to do this. If our phone is busy and you want immediate satisfaction, that's what it's there for. We'll be able to tell you the very basics, what we have available, what we can do, but pricing is going to be on the website. And of course, they may be able to give you some perimeters, but not a final price. That'd be a little too much to ask of AI at this point in time, or the companies. They will try to direct you in the right direction to the website and create an appointment where one of our agents will call you back and be happy to take the final order, or simply do it the easy way, like today. Easy to do it on the website. With that being said, we have a new management system coming on that I think is going to be rather incredible in the barrel rifle business. We are having the barrel inspected as it goes down the line with your order in your travel or your order sheet. Every one of our employees will inspect the barrel to complete accuracy in the technology and the job they do. Then they will scan it and stamp it with their own personal mark, almost like back in the day when Craftsman had watermarks. So we will know the person, the time, and the date by which they did the work. And we can tell you fairly accurately where your barrel is. One thing we can do is we can tell you where your barrel is. So if it's falling behind a little bit or you have a rush, you can give us a call, an email, and we can see if we can accelerate that for you. We can't accelerate everyone all the time, but we certainly will try to reach out and facilitate anyone we can at any time. So as you can see, there's a number of really nice things happening for us, and I think that results to customer satisfaction, and I think you're going to enjoy the shooting world even a little more with either a precision cut, a carbon 6, or a carbon tech barrel. Best wishes. Y'all have a great evening.